Riders ready? Watch the gate.
This week on Silent Revolution, we travel to the Wyre Forest in the United Kingdom, where we catch up with Dan Smith, who liaises with the Forestry Commission on the construction of the mountain bike trails. Mountain biking is becoming increasingly popular with amateur and professional cyclists alike as they push their bodies and bikes to the limit.
Yeah, my name's Dan Smith, and I basically help on the dig teams here at Ribbesford. I liaise with the Forestry Commission, and I ride here. This is my local track. So there's quite a few people come along and say that they started it. I don't know who started it in the beginning. I think I started here probably about 5 years ago. Took over one of the tracks. There's 3 main tracks here, and I took over the middle line, and I've been doing it ever since. Yeah, you don't necessarily need a downhill bike, just something that's a high quality bike. I'd say anywhere north of 5-inch travel will be fine here. You have quite a few all-mountain enduro riders coming here. You can pedal up the fire roads and then join in the descents. It's good for that, but it's also good for 8-inch travel downhill bikes. It's good all round really. The one track is called Old School. We've done very little changes to it over the past sort of 3 years. It's very natural, very few jumps. Then you've got Black Ribs, which used to be the hardest track, but it's got quite a few big jumps in it. But then you've got Rib Tickler now, which is probably the higher end sort of track. It's got a hell of a lot of jumps in it. The reason why we had to put quite a lot of jumps in it's not the steepest track, so to keep the flow we had to put quite a few jumps in it to keep it going. But there's been a hell of a lot of work done to that track recently. Yeah, we don't get paid for anything. It's just Forestry gave us some money. I think it was last year. And that basically paid for a couple of shovels, wheelbarrows, rakes, a couple of axes, stuff like that, just to help us along really. Also some material like Type 1 hardcore, dirt and some rocks, build rock gardens or to build actual features with rocks. So that was pretty good. We still got some of that left over, so there'll be some more maintenance done this year. The dig season runs it's normally around October to March. It's better to build in the winter when it's wet. The features seem to pat down better. We tried to do some maintenance yesterday on one of the runs, and you're basically building with powder. It's so dry at the moment. But yeah, it'll start all over again in a couple of months and build things bigger and better again.
Just come back from holiday. Yeah, I know you've been away there. Yeah.
Well, I was saying to one of my friends the other day, for instance, the Facebook page, for a long time it was around 100 people that were on the Ribbesford Downhill Facebook page. It's risen dramatically over the past couple of months to 300, over 300 now. I think it's about 320. As far as riders here, so on a weekend, you probably get it's hard really, it's probably between 40 and 60 riders a day on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday the same. Then you get riders over here in the evenings, probably say 10 to 20 riders in the evenings. So all the local riders can come up here and enjoy it, it's good. It's hard to explain, but I would say I'm sort of in charge of the middle run, and then you've got a couple of lads that are in charge of the old school, and then a couple of lads in charge of The problem is if you didn't have that and you had free reign, just people would just come along, build what they wanted, and it wouldn't work. You'd have too many people arguing, too much going on in that sense. So it's better to have like someone that you go to and say, what do you fancy? Do you think we should do this? And then I would say, yeah, well, that's actually a really good idea. Or I'd never say no, but I'd try and elaborate on it and say, well, maybe we could, maybe not what you're saying, but maybe what about this? And it's good to have like a lead person to go and talk to, basically. It's good. I did downhill racing since I was 14. Unfortunately, I gave it up when I was 17 and found cars and women and alcohol. And then my friend phoned me about 6 years ago and said, I've bought a downhill bike. I know you used to do it, would you be up for getting into it again? And I was like, definitely. I was 16 stone at the time when he rang me, so I'd let myself go a bit. So I saved for a downhill bike over a couple of months and went to the gym and lost some weight, and I haven't looked back since. I've been doing it since then. Wouldn't dream of giving it up now. Wish I never gave it up in the first place. Really enjoy it. There's quite a few racers come up here and hone their skills, but even when there's like say there's 20 people that race here, it's very relaxed. It's not, you know, it's not all stiff upper lip and all that. It's all pretty relaxed, just chill, as you can see they're doing now. It's just a good atmosphere. You get all sorts. You get dads and their kids coming up here with, you know, his kid on his 20-inch wheel bike. You probably get that sort of once a month. So someone it's normally a dad that wants to ride and he's brought his son along with him. And then you get, I know a couple of lads up that ride here, and they're coming up to 60 now. But mainly, if I'm honest, it's anywhere between 20 and 40 really. That's the main sort of age bracket, I would say.
My name's Craig Taylor. I'm a downhill racer where I do all kinds of riding, cross country, BMX tracks, mainly downhill because I race national series, some regional races too. So that's enough to keep me busy. Downhill racing didn't really start till my late 20s, so I'm 33 now. So about 5 years racing, progressed quite well in the sport, to be fair. Before that I was well into mountain bikes. Just never really into racing, but did my first race and I was hooked. Got into it with a gang of friends, they were into it. We came to these local places like Ribbesford, and there's a place called Kimber just over the way. There's a lot of jumps and drops there. Just started learning on that kind of thing. It snowballed from there, then you want to improve your bike, you want to improve your parts. As you progress, you get better and you just get more into it and completely hooked into the sport now. I ride all the national series, which is the British Downhill Series. 5 races up and down the country, Scotland, Wales and England. I ride in Masters category, which is for my age group, which is ages between 30 and 40. And I'm not doing too bad, to be honest. My lad, he's 6, just gone 6. And he's always obviously watched me messing my bikes in the garage, riding bikes. I can't take him down and racing, he's not old enough yet obviously, but we take him BMX tracks, dirt jump spots. Can't go cross-country riding because you can't keep up obviously, but he's just watching me and he watches my mates and he absolutely loves it. I think he's going to be well into it when he's older. Well, everything's rollable here, so it suits everybody's abilities. They've had to make it that way. The forestry said that they need to make it rollable so people of all levels can ride the tracks and hopefully not get hurt, you know. So it's ideal for him. He's like only 6. It's his first time here today actually, and I took him down for a couple of runs and he's coping quite well.
It's good. I've had one off. Won't come off once, but I'm alright, still going. Still going. What happened there? Just went too much. Nearly. Needs to go it on camera. That's trying too hard, isn't it?
You happy, Reg?
Yeah, I'm happy I didn't hit the tree.
Yeah.
My name's Wyre Forrest, I'm 16, I ride for Da Vinci, Haven, O'Neill and Volvo, and I race downhill at World Cup level. This year it was my first year in junior, so it's been trying to make a name for myself in the World Cup circuit. I did Fort William World Cup and I'm going to do Hafjell in Norway and Leogang in the next 2 up and coming weeks, hopefully do well there, and then the whole season next year if things go to plan. It was a little bit slow to take off, but I won the last national, and I think I've firmly made a name for myself, hopefully get inside the top 10 at the last 2 World Cups and take it from there. Well, I started downhill in particular when I was 8 at these woods, in fact, on board a little mongoose hardtail, and I've progressed ever since there. Believe it or not, this is actually a very easy track. I mean, that's why I've got the Da Vinci Dixon here today. It's actually an XC bike, but perfect for this kind of fun trail, and things get a lot gnarlier than here. This is just kind of a bit of fun, something local with a couple of jumps. It's relatively easy, but it's all good fun. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had any major injuries throughout my whole career. The worst I've ever done riding a bike is a broken hand, I think. I've had a couple of big crashes, I got scratches here and there, but nothing that stopped me racing. I've not had any injuries this year at all. Been pretty lucky. I've just tried to take things as they come and play it smart. Well, I want to win. I want to be one of the best in the world, and my brother, who's just there as well, he keeps me racing. He's training with me as my training partner, and he's pushed me always to improve. And it's something to do for fun. I mean, all of my friends are smoking pot and getting drunk every weekend, and I'm training, getting my head down on my bike and getting good score results, and I think it's just because I enjoy riding things with 2 wheels. You look around here, a lot of people have kind of a closely knit group of friends, and there's around 30, 40 guys here that I know really well. I can go up and have a chat to, and it's a good community, and everyone looks after each other. If I break something on my bike today, someone will help me fix it. It's really nice, and ever since I was a young lad I've had that, and I think it's helped me form into a good, stable character and hopefully a likeable person. I just think it's like I can queue for 3 hours at Alton Towers to go on a roller coaster, and it's nowhere near as fun as riding a bike, and I can do that all day, every day if I want to. It's an amazing feeling. You can push it as much as you want to. It's fun. It's like nothing else. It's just that perfect, fun sport. It makes your stomach go. You can get G's from it. You can go really fast. It's dangerous. It's just fun. It's a good time with good mates. I mean, I could do anything with these people and have fun, but I think riding a bike is probably the best option.
Go on.
Tom, where are you going?
I'll just concentrate on the jump more than the corner, I think. It's not a very good idea. Really.
See how fast he was coming into there then, Tom.
Because the tracks have been here so long, they're so hard packed that you just roll so quickly with a couple of pedal strokes, and if you pump the jumps correctly and really work the bike, you can probably reach speeds of 30-35 miles an hour in sections, and you go in past trees sort of 2 inches away from you, and it's good. Things can go wrong quite quickly, but it's a risk that myself and most lads here are willing to take. So I suppose that's where we get our enjoyment from. It's quite a few injuries. Broke quite a few bones, collarbones, legs. I've broke all my ribs. I mean, a crash that comes to mind last year. I came into one of the gap jumps, and as I was coming out the berm, put the pedals down too early, clipped I think it was a root to my pedal, high-sided and smashed my head into a tree stump, and I was out cold for like 2 minutes. Woke up, I had no memory, didn't know where I was, didn't know my name, didn't know anything. I was completely, and then started coming back to me vaguely while my friend was driving me back to my girlfriend's. Got back to my girlfriend's, had to go to hospital because I brained myself, I was out of it basically. Went to hospital and had to stay in overnight. My memory came back after about 24 hours, but I seriously, like my helmet was a write-off. It had a 3-inch hole in it, and can't stress how important it is to wear a helmet. It's just the sort of, like we touched on before, the sort of speed you go and you can't risk anything. You need to wear protection, and because I'm sure as I stand here now, I'd either be dead or in a wheelchair now if I wasn't wearing a helmet. So it's, yeah, definitely the one to wear.
On the back wheel then,
Nice manual.
I'm Richard Tune, I'm 46 years old and I've been riding bikes since I was about that high. Started off with a trike and I used to go down our old garden, through the garden gate, and my parents said they used to stand there and go, and I just used to crash into the garage doors opposite. Then I was on to rally chippers, grifters, and then I got into schoolboy motocross, and then the age 15, did my knee in, had to give that up, but I just got into BMX, and this was early 80s. So I did that for a while. Then it was road bikes, motorbikes. Then I fell out of it for a bit. And then I got back into trail riding. I bought a trail bike, went out with my friend. We used to do a couple of trails over Clenton, whatever. And then I came here because a friend of mine had spotted this place. So I bought a bike a bit more suitable, and because there's jumps involved, and I've always liked going off jumps, I thought, oh, I love this. Then I started, met up with some of the guys here, and just became friends with them. And I was looking at the bikes they were riding. I thought, well, this isn't really up to the job. And then the guy who I bought that bike off, I got a shop, and he advised me on a downhill bike to get, which is the one I've got now. And then I've been riding that ever since. And I just love jumping and getting together with my mates and having a good day out. Mine would be, when I had it, 2,700 new, but I traded in a carbon road bike for it, so that gave me a bit off. So that helped.
Downhill mountain biking is not for the faint-hearted. It takes nerves of steel and sharp reflexes coupled with split-second timing. The rider's just inches away from the trees as they speed down the trails.
Well, I think it's the way we've laid out the tracks. There are some easier parts. It's not all full on. I mean, if I'm brutally honest, you probably wouldn't see the sort of size jumps here on a regional downhill track, for instance. You would see them on a World Cup track. But it's for all skill levels. We're trying to build people's confidence up. So you'd start off on old school, and once you've started getting your flow and starting to make some of the jumps, then you'd probably session some of the stuff on the other tracks, and you'd link them up. I mean, I'd say a new rider that comes here once a week. They're normally doing everything within a year to 18 months if they push themselves. But I don't want people to think, oh, I'm not going to Ribbesford, it's all too big for me. There are smaller things to hit. We're quite lucky where we are here because you've got Cumcarn, Forest of Dean, you've got all the Welsh tracks, you've got the Pierce Series, 2 hours away from Antioch-Stiniog, Revolution Bike Park, Bala, you got Aston Hill as well, which isn't too far away, Chicksands. So like we're on the border of Wales, so there's Bike Park Wales as well.
I used to when I was younger, to be honest with you, and then kind of just grew out of it. I was growing up, do you know what I mean? I used to go out drinking and stuff, etc. So, and then my brother got into it, and I kind of bought a bike and when it got it back into it.
Go on, dude, go on.
I think it's the bike in itself. You can go through a load of bikes, but the common denominator is you love riding a bike, whether it's on the road, you know, in your back garden when you're a nipper, or just out with your mates on the trails, or doing downhill. You just get a buzz from it. If you ask anyone what sport they're into, skiing, snowboarding, road biking, as soon as they get onto that, their mind is switched on and it's like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's such a buzz when you're going down, all your mates are riding, you're going off jumps and stuff, and you know, you don't have to be the greatest rider. It's just, you get that lift. You know, and I go to work all week, and I cycle to work, cycle home, and that keeps my fitness up. Then come the weekend, if I haven't been out on my bike, I'm on a bit of a downer, like, you know, it's like, oh, you know, I hadn't had my bike for 6 weeks because the rear shock had blown, and I was just like, in a mood. It's like someone had took my favourite thing away from me, you know. It's like, if I ever have to stop riding, it better be for a good reason, because it's just like, it's one side of me that, you know, it's part of my personality. I just love riding, and I'm down here as often as I can, or somewhere else, as long as I'm on a bike. I mean, I've got a mate here who's lent me his bike. You know, come down, you can come ride mine. You know, come down and have a rip round on that, and I just have to be on it. Like I say, you ask anyone else what they're into, I've got to be doing it at some point in the week or the weekend. It's just a good day out, and there's just a great crowd here. They're all friendly, they welcome you in from day one. They always say hello when you turn up, you know, and you soon become friends with them, and then you get to ride, they take you somewhere else. And because all that's new, you know, there's new tracks, and you're like, oh, these jumps are different, or that's different, and that brings your riding on. So you're getting better, but you're not realising it. And then you come back somewhere else, and someone who hasn't seen you for a while will say, flipping it, you're quick through there, and you don't know, because you're just doing it. But you get brought on by quicker riders. I mean, there's guys here who's rapid, you know, the national standards and races, you know. And you watch them get in, and you think, Nick, I thought I was quick till I saw them get through there. And you think, well, if they can do it, and you know, you think, oh, if I do that, perhaps I'm going to fall off. But you don't. I mean, you'd be surprised what the bike allows you to do. You know, they say, oh, if you just do that with a bike, or just do this with a bike, you can do that. And you try it, and you think, blimey, I didn't think, you know. It's just like you come away at the end of the day, think, oh, you've achieved something else then. That's just another one on your list. The thing is as well, we've got the talent for this kind of stuff, but no one's prepared to invest in it. You know, and you've got people like, oh, you can't do that, health and safety, or you can't do this, that and the other. You know, if a few local business, got some businessmen involved who are keen on cycling, and they invested some money in the infrastructure or whatever, like local stuff like this, and get involved with the forestry. You know, the world's your oyster. You know, the talent's here. You know, you only have to look around at all the local trails and trail centres, and there's people riding who could easily be doing well racing, but they're just naturally good riders who just ride for fun. And that's why I do it. At the end of the day, that's why I do it, because it's just fun. You know, I go to work 5 days a week, and the weekend now is riding.
stoked, man! It's absolutely awesome!
My name is Adam. Been riding for about a year. Come from a kind of trials background. I've rode trials for a few years. Came up here, met these crazy lot, and got addicted to downhill basically. Scares you. It's fast, gnarly. Got it in. Yeah, if you get it wrong, it does hurt. I had a few accidents. I broke my wrist about 6 months ago. Broke my toe in France. That was 5 weeks ago. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Not one of my best crashes, but it's good. Just ride with people that are kind of better than you. Watch their lines, follow their lines, and soon enough, you do start kind of choosing your own lines. For me, it's that rush, the adrenaline, and I have quite a stressful job, so this is the break, the release. You get here, it just clears your mind because you can't think of nothing else. For those minute and a half or 2 minutes, you can't think of anything else, so you just focus on the trail. And I basically do kind of shot fitting, but like all over, cover a big area. So it's plenty of driving, and so this is my my chill out kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people come downhill is the kind of extreme side of things. So a lot of people start off with like travel, cross country, and then slowly build their way up. Some people like that feeling of being scared, and some people don't. So yeah, I mean, I've always rode a bike, so I knew what I could do and what I couldn't do. But because it had been a pretty big gap between kind of riding a bike, when I got down here, I was just on basic kind of GT. I drove more of a cross country bike. Done a few runs and just got that kind of that bite, I guess, that I want to get back into it and start riding again. So sold the bike, got something a bit more like kind of gnarly again, and just worked the way up. Again, it's just riding with good people that are better than you. If people can kind of help you out with tips, you do like kind of get better a lot quicker than what you would if you just ride by yourself. Because people can kind of point things out, and where your weight's wrong, or if the kind of line you're taking ain't the best line, then if you do take note of what people say, you can get good pretty quick. At the end of the day, it's just bottle basically. If there's something you think you can do, try it. If it don't happen and you're way off, it's a bit kind of out of your reach. But you just have to go for it sometimes. Plus your friends will kind of say, go for it, or they'll turn and say, not just yet. Wait a little while and practice. We're all pretty straight with each other, and if you don't think it's possible, you don't really want to see a friend come off, because when it does come off, it hurts. There's no kind of half measures when you do come off. Especially the kind of faster you get, the bigger the crashes, and you slide a lot longer. But yeah, it's good. It's a good sport.
since the Olympics, really. I think it's been steadily growing for a while now. The technology that goes into the bikes now is just unbelievable. But since the Olympics, really, it's really sort of taken off. It's been recognised that, you know, we're not just a nation that's just bred to play football every weekend. You know, we are ridiculously good at mountain biking. Not just mountain biking, biking in general. We are, as a nation, really good at it. And I think the French know that, and they're starting to worry a bit now. But yeah, it used to annoy me, to be honest, and pretty much everyone I spoke to that was into mountain biking, the way we're extremely good at a sport and it's not recognised. As an overall, it's just not recognised. But it is starting to become recognised now, and it's good. It's good for the sport. I mean, we're getting pump tracks built. One in particular I'm thinking of has just been built in Kidderminster. There's another one that's been built in Telford. So yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm biased though. I'm not into football, but I can see why people are into it. But I'm just glad the sport's starting to get the recognition that it deserves. I think as well, it's not just the Olympics. Other little things like Danny Hart's World Cup run in 2011 at Chompery, that did wonders for the sport. It's a British lad, and you know, myself, you know, I'll go into work and I'd show people that aren't even into mountain biking. I'd show them this run, and even they can see that it's just astronomical what he did that day. And again, it's a reflection of how good we are in England at what we do. And I'm glad it's starting to come to the forefront of the sport. It's good.
Well, we hope you have enjoyed another episode of Silent Revolution. We're now going to leave you with some onboard footage with Dan Thomas. Till next week, ride safe.